circumstance in some other area, it's all hands on deck, and the people in the state of Rhode Island should realize this is the #1 priority for me as governor and our administration. And as you can see, we've assembled an all hands on deck team and local leaders and experts to ensure public safety while minimizing any burden caused by the temporary traffic patterns while DOT works to reopen the bridge as quickly as we possibly can. I just want to go over some of the things since we met yesterday right around the same time. You know, our team will continue to hold these daily press conferences throughout the week to ensure Rhode Islanders have the most up-to-date information on ongoing responses, and we will continue to provide those updates and continue to reinforce that this is the #1 priority in the state of Rhode Island, and we're going to make sure that we act accordingly. So we began this morning with our daily municipal briefing. After yesterday, we are going to be meeting with the municipal leaders and their emergency management staff on statewide, just in case we might be overlooking something that might be impacting another community in a way that we haven't expected. So those calls are going to continue to give updates on the bridge closure, but also getting information from the communities, whether this is impacting our schools, whether this is impacting our local economy. That will have that continued collaboration. And I want to thank the municipal leaders again for responding in the way that you have, not only in East Providence, but statewide. Earlier, I was in East Providence, I said, with Mayor De Silva and his police chief to survey traffic conditions, identify areas that may require an adjustment in traffic patterns, and see firsthand where the state can provide additional support to reduce that congestion. And we are making sure that the state is providing, the question has come up in terms of that we know this is going to impact communities locally on their finances. We are making sure that that we address the detail through the DOT, through the project that's currently going on 195. And then if there's additional costs in terms of those details, we're ready to absorb that cost. And we'll figure out who's going to pay down the line, but we've got to make sure that we provide the municipalities all the help that they need to tackle this, this challenging time. I also spent time with Mayor Smiley, Secretary Tanner, and along with Mark Harewood from the SBA to meet with businesses in Wayland Square to hear firsthand how the closure is impacting their operations and to offer support. I did mention that personally I do shop in Wayland Square, and Christmas Eve is one of my stops, so I got to make sure that everything is going well personally, but also, Mayor, we want to make sure that we do the right thing by the businesses in the community. Tomorrow I'll be signing a letter that the SBA will put on my desk as we start to analyze the impact that it's having on small businesses, to actually get relief from the SBA and access to capital to these small businesses that are impacted in the immediate area we're talking about, but also more broadly throughout the state of Rhode Island if there's impact. We're working with on that issue. So since yesterday, we've been in progress on getting 2 lanes open on the eastbound side of the Washington Bridge. That's our first step, our first goal. And all barriers needed for this change are on site, and installation has begun. DOT will have more specifics to share tomorrow, but also the director will kind of fill in the blanks of where we are since yesterday to today. We've also launched a web page that will have valuable information for commuters, including a wide range of suggested detours. The director, Alviti, will go into that further in detail as people adjust their travel patterns and recommendations about how we can make sure that they're getting the information they need to have the least amount of time on their travel experience, whether it's going to their family or to their jobs or to their doctors. Many conversations yesterday with friends who were calling me with good, collaborative type of suggestions. We continue to invite the general community to do that. If you're out there second guessing what we're doing, we're not really going to put up with that. The decision that was made on Monday was an easy decision to make based on the information that was given to me by the director. This was a safety issue, and we were not going to put the safety of the people in the state of Rhode Island, the people who travel 195 at risk. That decision was made. Now we're playing a little catch-up to make sure that we're communicating well and you're going to hear some good progress that has been made in a very short period of time. So DOT has designated a liaison to work daily with our team. Our calls will continue. Mark Pappas, who's actually doing work right now, delivering cameras to East Providence to kind of help with the congestion. I've assigned him as the emergency management person that's going to continue to work directly with Mayor Silver, Mayor Smiley, and also municipal leaders around the state of Rhode Island. Our state police are also assigning a secondary roads in East Providence and standing ready to provide rapid response and support. I have Sid Wardell here, who is the executive director of the chief of police in the state of Rhode Island, along with our chief Lynch from Bristol, who is the president of that association. So next, again, it's an all hands on deck, and we're going to be looking for mutual aid in a way, and we're looking for Sid to kind of provide that leadership. So we thank him for being here. So right now, like I said, EMA is deploying portable camera systems to East Providence to assist with traffic management concerns. I've also tasked them with organizing daily calls with elected officials, as I mentioned, and state agency directors to provide status updates and coordinate solutions and concerns and issues. An emergency like we're dealing with right now takes all hands on deck. The people in the state of Rhode Island should feel very confident with the team that's in front of us and beyond us, just as we had, whether we're dealing with snowstorms, we're dealing with vaccinations. By the way, we ended up being the #1 in the country because of the work that people that's standing right by me right now. There's no reason that we're not going to hit this and make sure that this emergency it has as little impact on the state of Rhode Island as possible. It takes leadership to do that. And later today, I just let you know, because of Massachusetts is involved. Yesterday, I talked to the governor of Pennsylvania. Later today, I'll be connecting with Governor Healy in Massachusetts, and also President Biden's small business administrator. So the work continues behind the scenes. We're happy to be here to address the issues that should be addressed, and we're going to continue to be in front of the media, and we thank the media that's here to deliver the information that's really important to people within the state of Rhode Island and beyond our borders. With that, I'll hand this over to our director, Alviti. Thank you.
Thanks, Governor. I can't thank you enough for the leadership that you've shown through this crisis. When the governor talks about this being an all-hands-on-deck kind of effort here, he has managed to pull together not only all of government, so that all of the various branches of government are working together toward keeping people safe and getting this issue resolved, but also the municipalities and other organizations that are here today with us, that the mayors, the two mayors on either side of this, I couldn't be more pleased with the kind of cooperation that we're getting, the support that we're getting from all of these people to help us at DOT in our mission to get things back in order and people's lives safe and back in an orderly fashion. To that end, we've made, as the governor said, we've made considerable progress in the last day. I think I said yesterday to you all that we will report out, as the governor said, on a daily basis, because things move fast, information comes in fast, and we work fast to get things resolved. One of the ways we work fast to get things resolved is to work with the local communities and provided them with additional resources in terms of traffic control and police details and our own vehicles, DOT vehicles, to help them create detour corridors that worked more efficiently each day that we're going through this. And that is proven out. The difference between travel times between yesterday and today is markedly improved. In fact, the travel times in most cases have been cut down to either half or less than half of the time that it took folks to take those same detours yesterday. Our goal is to get them back to where they were before all this happened. And in that regard, the governor has been certainly putting the pressure on us here at DOT to get the work done for initially the bypass and ultimately the the old bridge reconstruction so that we can get things back and people back on this highway as quickly as possible. Our folks here at DOT, I think you see behind me, a considerable amount of work has taken place between yesterday and today, particularly both on the large structure and on the bypass lanes that we're creating. The bypass lane work, our contractors in the DOT and the governor was very supportive in allowing us to get as much resources as we possibly can on this problem and get it solved as quickly as we could. And we did that. We delivered that for him. We will, I'm happy to announce today, be opening the bypass lanes this weekend. We continue, as I said yesterday, we're going to continue to try and find ways to accelerate that. But between deploying our project management expertise and bringing together a design build team that drew upon the resources outside of this project area to bring to bear on this problem, those resources and that effort and that coordination that is taking place has proven out to accelerate the timeline of this considerably and to get these lanes open by this weekend. I know we have projected 1 week or 2 weeks out. I'm happy to say we have a high confidence level of completing it by this weekend. That should resolve, that should bring the travel times down, not to what they were prior to this emergency, but closer to it. We continue to work in the same way that we did with this bypass lane with the design build team and our project managers to accelerate the time of the permanent fix of the other bridge. And that is happening. We're laser focused on being able to accomplish that as quickly as possible, with safety being the utmost concern in a safe way. We're going to continue to work on alternate methods of and deploying alternate methods of transportation. Our transit and ferry folks here at DOT have been working with a ferry vendor that has a 500 passenger ferry. We're anticipating being able to deploy that in a very short period of time. I'm talking like maybe a week or at most 2 weeks. Between Bristol and Providence. Providence High, as you all know, we run a ferry system that will be reactivated from the way it is in the summer to winter operation. And on the Bristol side, we're working with the Bristol town officials to finalize one of 2 sites at that location, either our normal weekend ferry site or another alternate site where additional parking is available. At both ends of that, our staff is working with RIPTA and coordinating with RIPTA to provide shuttle service in Providence, between the Providence port and Kennedy Plaza and the train station, and at the other end in Bristol between parking facilities in that town and the site of the ferry landing. So that's coming together nicely, and we expect to deploy that to help relieve some of the commuters who have to endure the problems that have been created by this. Our traffic group continuously analyzes on a daily basis how we're progressing with metrics concentrated on the time of travel that's being experienced by various commuters from a number of different routes that people normally have to take to get to work or back or to get there. That is shaping up nicely, as I said. From yesterday even to today, we've cut down that travel time considerably with the help of and resources of the adjoining cities. We're looking on a daily basis, we'll continue to look at ways of even making that better and better. So they remain viable alternative routes even after we open up the bypass ramps. We opened yesterday, after our news conference yesterday, our folks continued to work on getting the emergency service lanes open. We knew it was a concern, and it was creating considerable public concern about whether or not under an emergency for people in the West Bay to get to emergency facilities and hospitals here on the West Bay. By yesterday afternoon, around midday, we had an emergency lane open that utilizes one part of the original closed bridge structure that our structural engineers analyzed to be appropriate for use by ambulance, rescue squad, or police squad vehicle, size vehicles safely. And we opened up with the help of the state police, who have been tremendous through this entire process in helping us, keeping things and restoring a good flow of traffic through all of this. Their coordination with us and the EMA folks that Mark had contacted all of the various 39 cities and towns to make sure all of their emergency services knew the route, the gauntlet, the check-in points, and that's been working flawlessly since we put that in place yesterday, getting people safely and quickly to the emergency services that they need. What else? We've been on calls with the chamber to make sure they're appraised of the impact on their businesses, and we're listening to, as the governor said, make sure that we listen to all of the various suggestions and comments and concerns from a wide, diverse group of people that this is impacting. And we are implementing measures to make things better in their world also. Look, I couldn't be, in the worst of situations, I am extremely pleased with cooperation that we're getting. Thankful to, and the commuters themselves have been cooperating wonderfully. They've given us the benefit of being patient with us as we work through this critical time, and we appreciate that. We appreciate the support that we've been getting from the public, and but we're not going to stop here. We've got a lot of work left to do. I'm happy to report on the things we've accomplished, but we're not taking our foot off the pedal. We're going to keep it down, and we're going to get the rest of the work done and restore normalcy as quickly as we possibly can. So with that, I'll hand off to Lieutenant Governor. I'll hand off to the Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you, Director. Thank you. Now we want to hear from Mayor De Silva and Mayor Smiley. I just want to remind the small business community that we're here to support you. As the governor said earlier today, he was together with the Secretary of Commerce and the SBA Director, visiting some of the businesses in Providence, and he has been to his Providence also. We just want to remind the public in general to continue to support our small business community. They need you more than ever. Our communities are being affected. Please, the restaurants, try to keep your reservations because they still need you to come and attend and support their businesses. Please know that they need you and remember to support them through all this ordeal. Let's not make things worse for them. Also want to remind the small business community that the state helpline is 521-HELP. So that would be for 521-4357 for those of you that prefer the numbers. This is a way how you can let us know how your business is being affected. If we don't know what is being affecting you, we're not going to be able to provide the assistance and the help that you need. So please make sure to call the number at Commerce and let us know how we can assist you and what are the things that are being challenging for you. Also, Commerce has created a web page, which is commerceri.com/emergency assistance. Please go there also for additional information and resources. We are asking the employers to please be patient and be flexible. If you're able to allow your employees to work from home, in the meantime, we would truly appreciate that. And also to the employees, if you're able to do carpooling also, we really need everyone to be, as the governor said, as all hands on deck. So we need the public in general also to be an active participant to help us right now. Again, I just want to remind you, please continue to support the small business community and make sure that you don't cancel your reservations for those restaurants that need you to be there. With that, I'm really glad to have Mayor Da Silva come address all of you and give you an update about what's going on in the city of East Providence. Mayor Da Silva.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Director Alviti and Mayor Smiley and everybody who's been working collaboratively to get us through this crisis. It was a tough decision that had to be made, a decision that we'll never know how many lives we'll potentially save. I mean, this is a crisis situation that was a potential deadly crisis that was averted by quick action, quick thinking by the DOT. The Governor and his staff have been very supportive. We took a ride today, less than 48 hours after this shutdown. We took a ride today, and things have remarkably improved on the ground in East Providence. As we drove over Pawtucket Avenue, looking at westbound traffic coming into Providence, the backups that occurred yesterday were no longer visible. That wasn't happening. All of the backups that were happening within the neighborhood streets also not happening today. The Governor and I met this morning. We went for a ride around 8:30 when you have some of the busiest traffic, and we were able to navigate the city rather smoothly, and we saw that traffic was moving. We did make it over the Henderson Bridge, and it took us 5 minutes to get over from East Providence to Providence. I want to thank Lieutenant Governor and also Secretary Tanner for working closely with us to address the needs of our small businesses. We have disseminated to our website and our social media platforms a form for local East Providence businesses to fill out the form and let us know what kind of impacts this has had to their business. And we are having a Zoom meeting for small businesses today at 5 p.m. Lieutenant Governor and Secretary Tanner will be on the call to help navigate the process for our small businesses who may have been impacted by this. I can also report that Superintendent reached out and let me know that school will be back on tomorrow. There will be some modifications to dismissal schedules to deal with maybe staggering some schedules, but that'll all come from the school department with more details. I want to thank the East Providence Police Department. Chief Franciscone is here with us, our DPW director, and all of the members of the police, fire, and DPW team that have come together really to make this an incredible transition from day one to day two. Where we are today is remarkably different than where we were on day one. So once again, I'm grateful to your leadership, Governor. I'm grateful,
continues, man.
And I'm grateful to Director Alviti for doing what was a difficult thing to do. Not really when you think about it. It was a difficult thing that was a big impact, but you did the right thing, the thing that had to be done, which was protect the public's safety. Thank you.
Mayor Smiley.
My colleague from across the bridge on the other side, one of my favorite mayors in the state of Rhode Island, Mayor Smiley.
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, everybody. I want to start by just saying I'm sorry that everyone has been so deeply impacted by this. I received countless calls yesterday from small business owners, parents, people trying to get to work, and this impact has been severe, and it's certainly not what any public servant wants for people trying to get to work or to get to their shopping or to get their kid to school on time. And so, we are doing everything we can. I think all of us standing up here are doing that, certainly in the city of Providence. We've tried to make this major impact a little bit less painful as best as possible. So we have been working quickly as soon as we got the call from Director Alviti, which certainly was the right call to make traffic and the impact in Providence less severe. The City of Providence has Providence police officers out at nearly every intersection along the detour route. I want to thank the members of the Providence Police Department for their service. Some of those officers, men and women, have been forced to stay and work longer. We have voluntary shifts, but we weren't able to fill all those details voluntarily, and so we have hardworking men and women who are hoping to go home to their families, but instead are working the intersections to make sure that this commute is a little faster than it might be if we weren't able to pull traffic like we are. Our Department of Public Works team and our operations team has worked closely with RIDOT to reprogram signals. We've put an emergency stop to any work or construction or utility work along the path, anything that might slow down travel along the detour route. And so I'm happy to say that at least in Providence, once you get to the other side of the Henderson Bridge, things are moving pretty well. And I want to reemphasize the message that Providence and Wayland Square, which is the most affected neighborhood at this time, are open for business. The Lieutenant Governor was right to point out, and I want to say it again, Providence is open for business. There has never been a more important time to shop local and to shop small. The business owners in Wayland Square, and I want to thank the Governor for being there in person with me this morning to hear directly from those business owners. They're reporting that business is down 30 to 50% in the first couple of days. We heard from the Federal Hill Commerce Association that the rate of cancellation of dinner reservations last night was 9 times the normal rate. You can still get to Providence, you can get around Providence, and we really need people more than ever to continue to keep their reservations, to keep their shopping plans. The small business owners, which include our restaurateurs, these are Rhode Islanders that own these businesses. These are Rhode Islanders who work in these businesses, and these are Rhode Island businesses that reinvest in Rhode Island. And so if my ask would be for the larger community, for the greater Providence area to help them now in this moment where for so many businesses at the holiday season, this is the most important time for their business to please shop local, shop small, come in to support these local businesses in East Providence and Providence. They need your support more than ever. The City of Providence has made free parking available at any city meter all the way through January 1st. You won't have to pay to park. It is easy to get around the city once you get here. But again, my deepest empathy for everyone who's been stuck in a 2-hour commute. It is getting better. It's better today than it was yesterday. I'm confident it'll be better tomorrow than it was today. And this is fabulous news from the director because of the governor's continued push to make people work harder and faster, that we'll have the bypass open sometime later this weekend. So if everyone could just hang in there for a couple days. I'll close with, I think, what is perhaps best about Rhode Island. What the governor and I heard this morning from so many business owners was a spirit of resiliency and a good attitude in a bad situation, with people saying, you know, I understand there's not much you can do about it. Certainly we didn't want to see a catastrophic bridge collapse. The spirit of our small businesses is undeterred, and we would ask Rhode Islanders to have that same spirit, to recognize that we're making the best of a bad situation, and that as a community, as Rhode Island has so many times before, can come together to support one another at this difficult moment. Thank you.
All right, everybody, we're going to start. I'll let Mayor Smiley step to the side, and we're going to start questions. Ryan will kick us off.
Despite saying the credit is due because lives were potentially saved, there's still a lot of frustration. Has there been any discussion of changes at DOT, potential resignation of the director?
Yeah, so I'm not going to answer those questions. We're here to talk about an emergency. That's out of line. Okay, so we're
people are.
No.
Have you seen the comments?
You may be talking about it, but the people I'm talking to are very pleased with what's happening right now. And anybody behind me right now that we're going to personalize this issue at this moment in time during an emergency, I think that is beyond the pale. So we'll answer questions specific to this topic going forward. I don't want to hear any more of those questions. You can take it out on me later, Ryan, but there's an inappropriate question, and I'm not going to even entertain an answer on that. I have already indicated that I have full faith in the team that's sitting here and standing here with me and beyond me, and that includes the leadership at DOT.
Do you acknowledge that people are
I'm
frustrated?
I'm not going to go further on that.
No. Do you acknowledge?
I'm going to ask you
I'm
to
going to go to
stay on
Amanda for the
topic.
next question.
What the people, I think the Mayor Smiley hit the nail on the head. We're here to service the people who live in the state of Rhode Island, and we have recognized that they have been, certainly more than merely inconvenienced, and East Providence and Providence in particular. We'll stick to the topic at hand, and the topic at hand is reopening the bridge. You've got some tremendous news because of the work that is happening by DOT and the contractors on the site. That we're going to be open on travel both east and west this weekend. That's worth really acknowledging the leadership that is happening in DOT and beyond. I'll go back to Andrea.
Amanda, to the next question, please.
Sure. I have two-parter for Director Alviti. So thanks so much for releasing the inspection report over the weekend. And I have to say, those photos are really striking.
Yes.
And looking at them, I don't know what it looked like in July. We've requested to see the photos from
Funny
July.
you should ask that. Let me show you. We can change this slide. Oh, here you go. So I asked that very question of my structural engineers. The picture you see on the right here is the one that was taken last week, where the rod is actually broken at the top. This is the picture of the same rod during the last inspection report in July, and the rod is not broken at this location. There are several of them. Next one, next slide. This one is even more discernible. You can see in July this rod was all solid in one piece, and you can see last week it was severed near the base. So I hope that this dispels the rumors and fear-mongering that's going on that goes to the issue of whether or not we're hiding something or things should have been known. The fact of the matter is our inspection reports in July showed these as being stable structures, and something catastrophic happened between July and now. Don't know whether it was a large load that may have driven over it that imposed a shear force, but that's the result of that we found on Monday.
Okay, and just to follow up on that question I asked you yesterday, when, the life expectancy, and you said it was about now.
Yes.
What other bridges are you looking at? Is DOT going back and re-inspecting some bridges to make sure we're not going to have this problem somewhere else?
So we instituted, 7 years ago, we recognized the first time in the history of DOT that these bridges were a problem and that they were a safety issue. And I think if you were here during that time, you would have heard all of the testimony and information and data and evidence that we provided with some pretty graphic pictures of the state of disrepair that our bridges were in. Since that time, we have rebuilt 300 bridges. More importantly, at that time, we implemented several safety kind of measures here at DOT. The first was to institute for the first time a regular and accelerated and on a regular basis inspection and re-inspection every year for the last 8 years, okay? And we continuously do that, and we're going to continually do that. In addition to that, we created a special bridge unit in maintenance so that as we're making these investments, the 300 bridges that we rebuilt, we're not only rebuilding them and learning from this kind of thing and rebuilding them in a different way where this in the future will not happen to those bridges. But we've also put in place an effective maintenance force that will keep them from deteriorating like they did during the last 50 years with the neglect that had been given to them.
But obviously, it only took a few months for this to happen, so are you going back and accelerating because of this, accelerating the inspections?
Yep, so we do have a regular inspection period that we put all of the bridges on. We continuously look at the measures that we have in place to see if we can improve them. You saw it happen in the last few days, right? From the original plan that was presented to us by the contractors and designers to how we continuously looked at that on a minute by minute, day by day, week by week, month by month basis to make ourselves better here. And I assure you we'll continue to do that.
We're going to go to Chris, then Kate.
Director Alviti, shuttles, when do they start? Are they free? Are they going to last the entire 3 months? How are these being paid for?
You're speaking of the ferry shuttles.
You mentioned RIPTA shuttles as well.
The RIPTA shuttles will be put in place to commute people from the ferry to other mass transit connections that they can make. So on the Bristol side, the shuttles will be put in place at day one to get people from the various parking facilities in the Bristol area to the ferry that will transport them to Providence. And then from the Providence ferry site, shuttles will be made available starting day one on that service from that site to various other mass transportation sites. Those will be free, including the ferry ride. We're absorbing that as a cost of what needs to be put in place in order to mitigate this problem.
All right, we go to Kate.
This question's for the governor. Governor, do you think it's appropriate to give the contract for the repair work to a company that signed a federal non-prosecution agreement on contamination at 610 and is currently under state indictment? What type of message does this send?
It sends a message to the people in the state of Rhode Island, I'm gonna go to wherever I can get the work done quickest to get the highways open. I'll let the legal process, if there is one, run out its course. But right now, top priority is reopening the bridge. We're doing everything we can to make that happen, and I feel comfortable that we're making the right decisions, as you just heard from the director. We're accelerating that opening, going east and west over the weekend. That's going to make travel and life a lot easier for the people who live in our state, as well as our businesses.
And just
So-
one follow-up, Governor. Do you have a sense of the level of frustration by Rhode Islanders? You talk up here about keeping reservations. Number of businesses already canceled things this coming weekend. The impetus sounds like you're placing it on Rhode Islanders. Do you understand the level of frustration that is out there in
Of
Rhode
course, and also I want the people in the state of Rhode Island to have full confidence in the team that's addressing an issue that certainly wasn't in the plan. So we understand that. I understand, certainly understand small business, as any governor's worked on behalf of small business harder than I have. I understand the realities we're dealing with, and we're dealing with those realities, and we're doing it in a way that I think the people in the state of Rhode Island are going to respond to and understand that they can have full confidence in the team and on my office, as well as the team that's doing the work.
I'm going to go to Patrick, then Ed.
Two-parter on the inspection and the bridge images we're seeing with Director Alviti.
Yeah.
One, does DOT expect at any point that we will learn what happened to the bridge, what caused that rapid deterioration that we're seeing right there in that short period of months? Or is that something that will just be a kind of mystery to history? We don't know what large truck might have done or what happened. And then second part, given the kind of the stark nature of the deterioration, does it suggest that for bridges that are in this kind of bad shape, there needs to be more frequent inspection than a July to December period?
Yep. Yeah, both good questions. Answer to the first one. What was the first one?
Does DOT plan or believe it can find out what the root cause of the damage was?
Unlike, for example, we get a lot of comparisons to Pennsylvania, right? Well, the governor was on the phone with them in the last few days, and we monitored what happened there. So, in that case, it was a catastrophic event of a fuel truck that caught on fire on the bridge that caused the bridge to suddenly collapse, right? Here, there very evidently, our engineers are telling us that very evidently there was some kind of load imposed that created a kind of catastrophic failure in these supports. Unfortunately, unlike the event, and actually fortunately, unlike the event in Pennsylvania, it was more of a gradual kind of domino effect. As the structure weakened, other pins on it failed. But the actual event was such that it didn't cause a cataclysmic failure of the bridge decks falling into the river and the vehicles falling into the river below and having, that kind of casualties that they have had in other locations. So without that having happened, we don't have any knowledge of what kind of vehicle, when it happened, or what. We just know that it happened between, and these are very conclusive, that sometime between July and present, that kind of event took place. We continuously here at DOT look at ways that we can address these kinds of issues and make sure. We came 100% further along 7 years ago when even the inspection program that we have currently in place and the knowledge set that we have on the actual condition and tracking the condition of every bridge didn't even exist before. We put that in place. That has served a very good purpose in keeping all of our bridges to date in a state of repair and scheduling their reconstruction in a way that both gets the most out of their useful life but keeps people safe. And that has proved out during the last 8 years when, as I said, we have so many bridges at the age and the condition that this was from decades of neglect. We're now addressing that, and I'm confident as we move forward, we continue to make improvements here at DOT every day to the way we operate, to the way we do our work.
Yeah, no, I'll just add to that, in any emergency that we have, we reconvene all the parties after we work our way through it to make an assessment on what happened, why it happened, and where we could make improvements. So that's not what we're here to talk about today because it's premature. We need to work our way through this emergency. And that's what we'll do, but we'll reconvene, and I think there's a technical term for that, but we will definitely bring everybody together that has really worked on this to assess, like I said, what was the cause, how did we do, and how can we do that?
I'm going to go Ed, Alex, Yanni.
Director Alviti, yesterday you drew the comparison to that Pennsylvania bridge and said, you know, they had moved slower than we were moving.
Yes.
But the national headlines were about how they managed to reopen that bridge within 12 days. It was called a small miracle in some of the headlines. So what was the point you were making? And are there lessons, if the governor's reached out to the Pennsylvania governor, we can draw from them, and is one of them to declare a state of emergency as they did?
No. I don't think the state of emergency would have made a difference in the timeline that it took for us to implement the improvement. The reports that I've gotten from the national news is that they're still rebuilding that bridge and won't be finished until 2024, a year after the event happened.
They reopened it, right? 12 days?
Well, they reopened some lanes, just as we're doing. And while it took them 12, it's going to be taking us 6 or 7 days to do that. So if we're going to compare, I'd say we compare very favorably in our performance compared to what happened in Pennsylvania. And I give full credit to the governor for his support, this team that you see up here, and the folks, both the design build team that we have employed and our project management folks here, whose sole mission is to get things done better, faster, cheaper for the state of Rhode Island.
And let me just add to that as well. The public needs to know if it's in our best interest to file some sort of emergency declaration, we will. And just like we're prepared to do for the small businesses when I sign that emergency letter tomorrow that will go to the SBA, and like I said, I'll be talking to the National SBA Director later in the day. So we're not going to leave any possibility untouched relative to bringing resources to the state of Rhode Island to address this emergency.
Alex?
We noticed a few other exits along the interstate to be shut down. How long will those exits and ramps be closed? And are you guys doing anything additional, like bringing in the National Guard or waiving Newport Bridge tolls in order to help alleviate some of the traffic?
So with the accelerated schedule that we've been able to put forward to the opening of the bypass lanes, I think all, if not most, of those exits will be reopened once we get the bypass lanes opened. And that could pretty much negate the need to implement other measures like waiving of tolls and those kinds of issues. But everything is very much still on the table. We always consider all opportunities to make things better.
I'm going to go to Yanni, then I'm going to come over to this side. Oh, sorry, one quick follow-up.
Did you mention a website where people can go to
Oh,
get
yes.
that information?
Our RIDOT website, you can go, and we're creating a separate portal on our website for people to view the information and materials relative to this crisis.
Right, Yanni.
Director Alviti, you brought up the inspection programs that you guys started about 7-8 years ago, I think. Is there anything that you may consider about implementing new things to the programs, retraining crews to try to catch things in these routine inspections, to look a little bit deeper, potentially catching the beginning stages of what's now going on in December?
I think, let me certainly give credit to our structural engineers, who were remarkable from the original discovery of this, and even before that, in the inspection program that they implemented, that's very comprehensive, and have kept things safer than they've ever been here in Rhode Island for the last 7 or 8 years. But I said it before, and I'll say it again. Every day, in every way, here at DOT, we look at ways of improving what we do, how we do it, and what the final product that we deliver to our customers, our constituents. and we'll continue to do that in the future.
I'm going to go Jennifer, Gabrielle, Pat.
Considering that remarkable improvement since yesterday, what is the goal to get that bridge reopened? If there's any estimate for that, we're talking about months. What would you like to?
So the estimate on the full bridge we made still stands. About a 3-month period, depending upon weather. This is a much bigger endeavor than just opening the bypass lanes. In repairing these kinds of issues, right? There's a much more detailed and comprehensive kind of reconstruction that needs to go on there. Right now, although we've already started, and the design build team has started in on that, as I said to you before, stay tuned. We'll continue to provide the information to you all so you can report out on it. But as time goes on, we're every day in every way trying to find ways of getting this rebuilt faster than that 3-month period. I've got every confidence in my project managers and in the design build team that if there's a way, they will find ways and they'll immediately implement them. And we'll keep you apprised of what the progress of that is. Okay?
Can you explain what is it your crews are doing to create that bypass temporary solution, and what changed in the last couple of days from that 2 to 3 week estimate to now only 6 days?
Well, what changed is the collaboration that we got between the contractor, the design build team. I think what made it happen faster than it would normally happen is that we're employing a design build approach to it. From a project management standpoint, that means the elements that had to be designed that went in place during the last day were designed and actually constructed both at the same time, in parallel. Instead of designing them, waiting for a period of time, and then having them built, which is a traditional way to build a bridge, the design build process allows both of those things to happen in conjunction with each other and collaboration with each other. So our project managers, our engineers, the contractor building it, and their design team all work together collaboratively. The other was an all-hands-on-deck approach, was that the contractor and we brought additional resources in the last couple of days to this project to make sure that we had the maximum amount of resources there that wouldn't end up confusing and making it take even longer, because if you put too much, and I think they got that precisely right, that mix precisely right, bring to bear exactly the maximum amount of resources that will help accelerate the process. And I think this is another example of our project management structure here at DOT working in a way that benefits the commuters.
We're going to go to Pat, and then the last question to Ray.
Commissioner Infante Green. Commissioner, in a very real sense, the school department's been granted a sort of a reprieve for a few weeks to engage in planning. If you could talk to us about your analysis of potential school busing issues, as importantly, distance learning. What will, if affected, what will RIDE look to the school committees for distance learning issues?
So East Providence is doing distance learning today. They have their plan in. All the districts have plans in prior to any situation that may occur. So they have distance learning. They're going to be in person tomorrow. What they're going to do is have early release for high school so that they can get the buses to the middle school and the elementary school. So what we have seen is out of our 300 statewide routes, 62 have been impacted. Of those 62, about 23 of them have experienced more of the severe delay yesterday. Today, we have reduced that delay, so we're happy to announce that. We thank the parents for being patient and understanding. So that's where the impact has been. With 62 of our statewide buses, remember we have kids in special ed programs that go in and out of districts, and also the schools that are in East Providence that are not just public schools. So we have independent schools, we have charter schools, we have kids going to CTE programs. We're very grateful to the districts and the schools for pivoting so quickly, for being supportive, and for the parents. And if you have questions, please don't call the line. Wait at least an hour. We know that there's going to be delays, and we want to transport your kids safely, and we are continuing to move forward. But we want to thank everybody in education. We want to thank the bus companies for being responsive. We have also put forth the ability for bus drivers to work extra hours so that they can be compensated for the additional time that they're spending on the road.
And just
go ahead,
very
Pat.
quickly, do you see hybrid models? Do you see full remote? What first reaction are you getting from school superintendents?
Well, I think the first reaction is that they move very quickly to have virtual, and what we are seeing is that every community is going to address it differently. So for East Providence, but we have kids that commute outside of East Providence, so we're going to be working with them hand in hand. You're going to see a myriad of different things, but we're excited that, we're happy that school will be in person tomorrow in East Providence. So we are thankful for the commitment of everyone involved. And we're going to keep moving forward. Y le quiero decir a los padres también en español que gracias por ser paciente con nosotros, evitando que hubiera una tragedia. Entonces, si falta una hora, espere por lo menos una hora de atraso que van a haber disponible. Después de una hora pueden llamar al autobús, pero ahora mismo gracias por la paciencia, gracias a los superintendentes, a las guaguas por responder de una manera tan rápida.
Last question to Ray.
Peter, now that we're going to be temporarily fixing the bridge, that going to be permanent, or you have to rebuild the bridge a couple of years down the road?
No. What we'll be opening up this weekend is a temporary bypass. We're taking 2 lanes on the eastbound side of the Washington Bridge and turning them into westbound lanes temporarily. Those will stay in place, allowing the traffic to stay off this main bridge that has the fractured structural elements on it. That work will take about 3 months to complete. That will be a permanent fix to that. Sometime in the future, we may decide to rebuild this bridge in a different way, the way that we are rebuilding our bridges now. But for now, we want to get this repaired in a way that will make it safe for people to go over and reassume their normal lives again.
Then 3 years down the road, we're going to go through the same headache.
No.
Why we're not fixing now?
No, well, this lasted almost 60 years, this one. So we expect whatever fix that we put in place will last another 60 years. But the key is for us to be in a pattern and recreate, as we did under roadworks, a methodology so that all time in the future, we're always looking 10 years ahead at the capital improvements and maintenance that we have to do to these to make them last even longer and make sure we're rebuilding them before they get to this. You've heard me say that over and over. The roadworks mantra at the beginning was that 27% of our bridges in our inventory were like this one. And we're working our way through them, but what took literally 50 or 60 years for us to get through is going to take a few years for us to work out. As I said, we've already fixed 300 of them. We're going to continue fixing bridges. And we're going to continue until we get 100% of our bridges in good condition and have a maintenance force in place to be able to keep them that way.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.